Hi guys, welcome to another Pop Culture Gamers podcast. I'm Steve, your host for this time, because I think I'm either odds or evens. I never know, but Haydn always lets me know what's going on. So Haydn, how are you? Okay?
Yeah, I'm fine, Steve, and yeah, you're right, it is your turn because you're even and I'm odd.
That sounds about right to me.
Yeah. And I'm sure there'll be lots of people who will agree with that statement as well.
yeah, especially where football's concerned. Yes. Oh, I must mention that as well. That's something else I forgot to mention. Okay, yeah.
Okay, just let me know, and I'll set my alarm clock for when you finish on that bit.
I'll put that in movies and TV. I might as well.
Okay.
Anyway, so how's things? Because we had a bit of a break last week, didn't we?
Yeah, we had a bit of a break, but I just thought I would give everybody first up update on Alan's situation. So, as you know, Alan's been very ill with his eyes. He's, lost a lot of sight. But the good news is, for the first time this week, I've been in communication with him, and basically, he can still see out of one of his eyes. It's more like he's described it as the tunnel vision that you would get in VR. Yeah. And the edge is very blurred or whatever. He's going to need, obviously, corrective lenses as well, but he can see the TV and screens and stuff like that. So he's still going to be able to play video games, and he's still going to be able to watch TV and movies, all of that sort of stuff. But he has said that his eyes get really, really tired very quickly. But I think he thought he was going to be a little bit longer with bandages on than he actually has been. And his wife's keeping him straight in terms of how long he's allowed to use equipment as well, to make sure he's not straining his eyes too much. Yeah, which is good on her, because we all know what we'd be like if we were in Alan's situation.
God, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd be watching TV permanently, wouldn't you?
Yeah. So he's asked me to just, say thank you to everybody, for everything, that's, all the well wishes, all that sort of thing. And the good news is he said he's going to give it a few more weeks, and he's hoping he'll be back for a show too next month.
Oh, good.
So it'll be nice to have him back. So all of those of you who love his Irish accent, you'll be able to get some more of that coming soon.
Wouldn't that be the women's side of things?
Well, it certainly will be my missus, because that's the only reason why she'd listen to the show.
Oh, there you go. I know this sort of the women's, they do love the Irish accent, but so does the blokes. I mean, I must admit, from the women's side of things, but we might not go down that rabbit hole anyway.
Yeah, let's not. So, other than that, I've been off for the last couple of weeks, mainly doing decorating in my other house, getting it ready for renting, and I've finally got a date for carpets to be installed as well. So that's sort of focused thing. So beginning of next month, about the 9th, we'll be getting carpets installed. Also had a nice trip up to Midland this week as well, and I met up with the dog breeder of my dog, and her husband as well. So we took them all for a walk up near Midland, and near a practice race track for horses there, and saw a few people racing along as well. And it's the first time since obviously we picked up Kylo that he's actually seen his mother and his uncle again, and it's a miracle how really close he looks like both of them. And the temperament and that sort of thing, how a lot of that is obviously nature in terms of it, as well as the nurture sort of side. But yeah, it was really nice to see, and obviously 3 blue male shelties together is a very unusual sight anyway. So that was quite nice, I think. Other than that, like I said, it's just been working. So I don't really feel like I've had 2 weeks off, because I've just been working right throughout it all. So, and it was also the anniversary of my dad's death as well, 3 years.
Yes, I did see the post, yeah.
Yeah, it was, I couldn't quite, but yes, it feels weird being that long, but it feels like yesterday at the same time. So it's been a bit of a sort of sort of week this week for that reason. But other than that, it's been okay. What about yourself?
Well, I'm sort of theoretically now off for a week, should we say. This is sort of my summer holiday break.
Yeah.
But I normally take 2 weeks off. But due to how work is, I'm going to take weeks off at a time. Mm-hmm. Because I'm not... Imagine taking 2 weeks off in a month and you cram a bit of overtime and you lose that overtime.
Yeah.
So if I take a week off, it's not such a hard hit. Mm-hmm. So I'm sort of physically off now. Came off call last night, which was fun. So that's all good. This week's been a bit... I haven't played any games this week. I've been watching a few YouTube videos just regarding Destiny and stuff like that with the new stuff that's coming out and, looking forward to that. I couldn't be bothered to carry on with the Destiny Heroes of Solace, wherever it is.
Yeah.
Really, really didn't, have the time, to be honest. It just sort of, but I'm sure we've got other things we can talk about. Last weekend was, as I did tell you, it was a record store day last weekend. And if people don't know what that is, it's a day of the year where all the companies will release vinyl, especially for that day. And they will be sort of reduced to limited pressings of like 1,000, 2,000 or whatever. Mm-hmm. And there'll be a huge amount of variations from artists, from Bowie to Daft Punk, should we say, all the way up to TV soundtracks and all sorts.
Yeah.
And this year it's in 3 drops. So we had drop 1 on last Saturday. We got the next drop after that, I think it's about the 26th of September. And then there's another one in November. So I got up Saturday morning nice and early, went out and started queuing at about 7 in the morning. As you do. There's only about 15 people in front of me, so it wasn't too bad. And I'd already looked on the website to see what I was looking forward to. So I picked up a few bits and pieces. I didn't pick up Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy that I told you about because I've already got the original anyway, and I thought, no, it's just maybe just not worth it, to be honest. My album is Crystal. It's superb. So other than seeing it as a double album with 3 vinyl and colours, I couldn't be bothered with that. You know what I mean? There's a limit sometimes. But I did pick up some Gary Newman, some New Order, some Paul Hardcastle. And one thing I picked up, which I didn't notice till the last minute that was out, was I think it's for the first time we got the whole movie score to the original first Dracula movie with Christopher Lee. Mm-hmm. And then the second album in the same box is one of the Frankenstein movies as well. So you got red vinyl for the Dracula one and a green vinyl for the Frankenstein one.
Nice.
And that's pretty cool. And it's funny because I've picked up a few bits and pieces over the last few months where I picked up Dracula AD 1972. I think was the latest one, which is what the last but one sort of Dracula movie that come from Hammer with Christopher Lee in the early 70s. Mm-hmm. So it was really nice to pick that up. And actually today, because I suppose you're the same, we never buy things on the day, do we now? Everything has to be pre-ordered. It's never, I'm going to get this and it's going to come tomorrow, is it? It never is now because we're always looking 3 months in advance.
Yeah.
So this morning came a 12-inch single from John Carpenter, his new single called Skeleton, which is like he did with he did a couple of albums, just sort of music that could have been based on movies, but the movie's in your head. So it's no particular, the themes are just written themes, but no particular movie. And they're really good to listen to. So this one came in the post today.
Yeah.
There was a couple of things with Waxworks I've been dealing with over the last few weeks, or no, so maybe over a week. So if you're not aware, John Carpenter's The Fog in Escape from New York has had its 40th anniversary. Mm-hmm. Now, Waxworks were bringing out a special pressings for each soundtrack, and the caveat to that was it was licensed for the US only. So if you tried to order them, it would know that you're not from the UK, you're from the UK, and it would just bum you up and say these are taken out of your basket.
Right. Okay.
And loads of people were saying, "Oh, what's all this about?" And then some people said, "Oh, you should go into Sacred Bones, maybe go on their website and do it," but that was the same there. So it was pretty much crap. That it's something that we've all got versions of it in different formats over the years, and this lovely new set we can't pick up. So I emailed Waxworks, and expressed my, I suppose, depression from this. I suppose I don't recall it now. Disappointment.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually tried to help me out. They said, what we'll do is we'll try a few things. So they went onto my basket, added it a few different times, tried a few different things. We couldn't get around the licensing issues at all, because it always come back to when the payment's made and it wants your address. That address was blocking it.
Right.
So I was sort of giving up at this point, thinking, yeah, whatever. It's just, I have got my original pressings and I have got another pressing from quite a few years ago. But it would be nice to have these ones because they look really cool and the artwork's fantastic. So I thought, yeah, whatever. Anyway, got another email back from them saying, try this. So what they did was they pushed the basket further forward. So they put the albums that I wanted, the variant colours, and they added the shipping.
Mm-hmm.
I could do it, and I got it, and they were bought. So I'm actually getting something that you shouldn't be able to get in the UK.
Nice.
I mean, even some of the stores, online stores, and people I know, like Ian from Silawave and that, they just can't get hold of them because it's just not going to be available.
Mm.
But I suppose if you went onto eBay, you know, those scavengers out there will be putting them at high prices possibly. But yeah, it was really cool. Glad to get that done.
No, good.
So that was all right. And at the same time, we saw a sneaky gif of a printing of their vinyl in their pressing plant.
Mm-hmm.
And they just released pre-orders for the Halloween 1 and 2 from Rob Zombie. So I don't know if you've ever seen those, but Rob Zombie's done his own version of the first two movies, which I'll talk about a little bit later because I did actually rewatch them over the last few nights. And so that was pretty cool. Now, the next thing, Zavi, bless them, I got an email from them saying, sorry, but we have a problem, but we're going to resend you a new box for your Empire Strikes Back on the Steelbook. So apparently what had happened is some of the pressings of the Steelbook had some scratches or damage on them.
Mm-hmm.
Not everyone. Mine actually hasn't got it. But they've said they've emailed everybody to say we're going to send you another Steelbook on its own, and with our deepest apologies. So Zavi giving a bit of love for a change.
Well, that'll be a first, won't it?
Yeah, and then this week I saw that Total Recall was getting a 40th anniversary. I think maybe it's 35 years anniversary 4K.
60 quid.
I know. But I nearly went for because you went for the Flash Gordon edition, didn't you, for that?
I did, yeah.
Well, I was going to do the same again with the Steelbook, but that was. Then I saw again, this is for me. Your Flash. I adore Flash Gordon as much as you do, but it's a special place in your heart. And yeah. Total Recall is one of those movies for me as well. Hence, I went for the 5-disc box set.
Right.
So, and then something else I've been trying to order, and there's a couple of them around, but not all different types. But Back to the Future, the 4K 5-disc 3 Steelbook edition. Mm-hmm. I've pre-ordered that. It sold out originally first time round.
And that's 75 quid as well.
No, I'm earning loads of overtime to do this. That's why I'm not having holidays. Work.
I need a job that I can get overtime in.
Yeah, you don't, do you? You see, I don't. I do a little bit of overtime when I'm at home in the office 2 days a week now. But I'm glad I'm on call because I can just grab overtime as well. So it helps pay for my funds. So yeah, so it's a busy time for pre-orders this time, and even with the Bond movie trailer coming out, I've just pre-ordered the Hans Zimmer soundtrack as well because just in case, see how it goes. If there's a different variant coming out from someone else, I can always sort of delete it at some point. But I just put it in the bag anyway, just in case. Yeah, as we've been getting the recent ones recently between you and me. So yeah, so it's been a busy time, and like no work, all work, no play. But at the end of the day, the work's going to pay for what I'm ordering.
Yeah, true.
So yeah, I will talk about on TV about an Amazon documentary that will bore you to tears, but I want to have a little quick say about that.
Yeah.
So I think that's about it. Anything else from yourself?
No, that's it from me for the update for this week.
Okay, so let's swiftly move to Gaming This Week. Okay, so what news have you dug up for us this week?
Well, lots of PC news. Basically, the big news this week is Nvidia has announced its response to the Xbox Series X and PS5 with not one, not two, but three new model graphics cards. These are the 3070, the 3080, and the very originally titled 3090.
Oh, of course it would be, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So these are, however, immensely powerful graphics card with the entry level, right, the 3070 being more powerful than the current top of the line 2080 Titan. So this is a massive boost in power.
Yeah.
And the 3080 and 90 are launching this month, September, with the 3070 being ready for launch in October. And the prices are going to be $500, $700, and $1,400 for the 70, 80, and 90, respectively. Evidently, the 3080 is twice the power of the Titan, which is absolutely immense. I mean, you know, this is the PC world just going consoles than nothing in comparison.
I mean, how far can they go with this? Do you know what I mean? I understand you need it. You need the power for a lot of stuff. I know that. I get that. But really, do we need it?
Well, it depends upon how realistic you want your graphics, how much ray tracing that you want, which give, you know, and the dynamic lighting and all of that sort of stuff. It's, you know, it's all what the consoles are doing, but PCs can obviously do it on a much quicker basis because of their component sort of structure. You know, and let's face it, you know, you can rip out your, you know, like me, for example, I could go now and get the 1080 that I've got in my PC and put in a 3070, and I'm going to have, you know, an immensely more powerful PC for, you know, replacing one component basically. So it's just a modular way of thinking in terms of the PC, but the great thing is that this is effectively a price cut for Nvidia. So, you know,
do you think they need to compete? Do you think they compete with the consoles? They don't really need to, do they? So,
well, no, because the PC market is probably just as equal as the console market on its own. But I think that they do feel that they need to compete just to, you know, keep themselves at the very pinnacle. You know, because the PC owners, me amongst them, will all say PC Master Race. So
yeah, I get bored of that one. Carry on.
Yeah, well, you need to get into the PC world then, and then you won't get bored of it at all. So that's a really good thing. And hitting, you know, close on the heels of that was a 2020 corporate report from Sony, which was indicating that Sony is looking to push more and more games onto PC, which is really highly amusing considering, you know, all of the Sony fanboys who saying that Microsoft was ridiculous for doing this, but suddenly Sony's doing it as well. So, you know, I wonder how the Sony fanboys are going to sort of come to terms with that one, really.
Well, they like it in their own little circle, don't they? You normally.
Yeah, exactly. So it's going to be interesting. And then the other great thing, which is for everybody now, is that CD Projekt Red has said that The Witcher 3 is coming to next-gen consoles with ray tracing and everything else. And not only that, but it's going to be free for anyone who has the existing game. Yeah. Whether or not it's on whatever format it's on. So you will get a free upgrade to the latest ray traced version if you own The Witcher 3.
Which you and I do both anyway, don't we? So
well, I've got it on 2 of the 3 formats. Well, sorry, 3 of the 4 formats because I got it on the Switch.
Yeah.
As well, but I don't have it on the PlayStation. But you know, effectively, you know, I could have it on those systems, you know, Xbox, you know, fully ray traced, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, see, I've got the whole package, all the DLC and everything else on Xbox, everything's there. So
yeah,
and I never finished the game, so there's always that push to look back at that, isn't there?
Well, I've been thinking about going back to that as a game, and you know, because I keep thinking, oh, but there's all of that learning to redo in the game and fighting that blooming griffin at the beginning of it and all of that sort of stuff as well, which sort of puts me off. But with the next-gen graphics, obviously next-gen machines are just around the corner. We've only got a couple of months before they're launched.
Yeah, we still don't know much, do we? We're still waiting.
It's ridiculous. It really is ridiculous now.
I think it's going to be down to the last wire on who's going to crack first.
Yeah, it is.
And I think Microsoft might do that. Well, Microsoft are going to be at the Tokyo Game Show, and Sony aren't, and nor Nintendo, believe it or not.
Yeah, but the strange thing is, with Microsoft being there, is it was my understanding that Sega were launching the Xbox Series X as a Sega machine. That was reported a little while ago, so why would Microsoft be there?
Yeah. Well, they've, as I say, it might be because they've got some titles that they want to push towards that market.
Yeah, maybe.
And I would love to see Blue Dragon 2. Oh my God, I'd be jumping for joy if that ever came out. That'd be a real favourite of mine if that would ever come out,
Yeah.
But it'd be interesting to see what they're going to say. I don't think there'll be any releases. There will just be Japanese stuff there. But then in September, we'll probably get the Xbox next one, which possibly will give all the details of what we've got to be looking forward to price-wise. And I think PlayStation might have something sorted as well, haven't they? I'm not too sure. I've not heard from them.
Well, it'd be interesting to see if they do in this country and in Europe what they're doing in America, which is you will be invited to be able to pre-order.
Yeah, this is a bit of I don't know, it's a bit mysterious, this. I mean, a lot of the Sony boys are a little bit upset about this, thinking that they're going to not be able to pick one up. Now, is this just a test for testing purposes, maybe? I don't know.
Well, you look back at the PlayStation 2. I remember the PlayStation 2 being like rocket horse drop-ins trying to get hold of it when it was first released.
Really? I had no problem picking one up. Mind you, I did pre-order from my local independent game store.
Yeah, but if you didn't pre-order and you tried to walk into a shop, it was about 6 months before you could actually just walk into a shop. Although I was really lucky, I did just walk into a shop, which, Chips in Northallerton has gone now, but I just walked in there, saw it up on the wall, I said, I'll have that, thank you. And that was it, so one of the most expensive impulse buys I've ever done. But, it was possible if you were in the right place, but generally speaking, it was really hard to get hold of a PlayStation 2 back then. And I think the COVID thing has really impacted on their ability to produce for launch. Well,
yeah, there's two spins on that, isn't there? There's maybe where the price is going to suit everyone and whether or not they can get the market out there and get them made.
Yeah, because it might be that they might turn around and say, oh yeah, the PlayStation 5 $599, in which case everybody's going to go, okay, I'll go Xbox, or it might be vice versa or whatever, I don't know.
Yeah,
the rumours were that the Xbox was going to be cheaper than the PlayStation.
Yeah, so what about the news that there's a possibility that the PlayStation 5 won't be back compat? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, it's not back compat with 1, 2, and 3.
No.
But it is with 4. And, well, at least they're giving you back compat.
Well, they're saying it's going to be some high-profile games that will be on there.
Yeah.
It won't be a great deal. You're going to be looking at stuff like The Last of Us Remastered, obviously, and Uncharted, maybe.
Well, let's face it, Microsoft started with a small number of backward compatibles and has increased it. I think Sony still looks at it as in they're wanting to generate money from their backward compatible market by re-releasing a game that you've already owned, like, Final Fantasy, re-releasing it as a PlayStation Arcade or whatever they call it, title. But it's effectively, it's the PlayStation 2 version of the game or PlayStation 1 version of the game.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what they want to do, whereas Microsoft do a little bit more canny in this respect and thinking, well, we can sell it to those people who have sold the version of it, but everybody else, if they've already got it, then that's going to encourage people to buy the console. So
I think it's a little bit of a poor show, I feel, that I think you should be able to play what you want on those machines. They're strong enough and big enough, powerful enough to do this thing. And I know it's probably difficult getting from a PS1 game to play on a PS5 maybe, but the Xbox have done it. from their point of view. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
They've researched it and they dive deep into that with a team that have brought out so many that it's unbelievable. I think they've done a great job of that.
I'm sorry, but if you're talking about running PS1 and 2 games, the PS5 must be more than enough power to be able to emulate at least PS1 and 2.
Of course you should. But yeah, I don't know if a lot of people are kicking off about it. I've seen a lot of news stories about it, but maybe it's a lot of people are just trying to get clickbait with that story and whine about it. But I don't know how people feel about it. Our side, I don't know if we've did we do a poll for that sort of thing yet?
What about backward compatibility? Yeah, we did one a little while ago. I think most people thought it was a nice to have or an essential feature. The majority. I think there was one person out of the whole lot who said absolutely not, don't want it. But everybody else was mostly for it. I think I can't remember the exact figures now. It was a few weeks ago, but we did do a poll. I think that was about the first poll we did.
Yeah, I think I remember doing that. So yeah, interesting.
Yeah,
cool.
Because we've got a few polls this week because I've done two or three. So
we got some lap dancing later then.
Yeah.
Okay, so new releases. Shall I do that? Oh, why not?
I'll let you do that.
I'll do it this week. Okay, so I see my mouse has stopped working then. So from the 1st to the 9th, we've got Array of the Secret Seasons on all formats from Modulus Games. We've got Hitman and Hitman 2 on Stadia. I'll probably brush over that one. Crusader Kings 3 on the PC.
I think you can get that on Game Pass now as well, can't you?
Possibly, yeah. From the 4th, we have Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, PC, PS4 and Xbox. We got The Persistence on PS4 and Xbox One. We have World Rally Championship 9, PC, PS4, Xbox from Nikon. And we have Dormin's Story of the Seasons on the PlayStation 4 from Bandai Namco. Marvel Avengers on all formats from Square Enix. On the 8th, we've got Akuma Madness, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, PC. We have Kingdom Amalur Re-Reckoning. Is that an update to the game, is it? I'm not too sure about that one.
Or a remaster, I don't know. I'm not too sure. Kingdom Amalur was never one I was a really big follower of, to be honest.
Yeah, so that was from THQ Nordic on PC, PS4 and Xbox One. We got Redneck Ed Astra Wants a Show on the PC. And that's the 10th. And on the 11th, we got Eternal Drift, PC, PS4, Xbox One and ship from PQ Games Limited. So quite a few bits and pieces there. I mean, Tony Hawk's would be interesting to see how that looks like.
Yeah, I will talk about Marvel Avengers shortly.
Yeah, and World Rally Championship. I used to play that back in the day.
Yeah.
And I have played a bit of Marvel Avengers myself, so interesting to see your thoughts on that. Anyway, subscription games, Haydn.
Okay, so Games with Gold, we've got The Division from the 1st to the 30th, and the Book of Unwritten Tales from the 16th to the 15th of October. And on the Xbox, we've got Debob 2, 1st to the 15th, and Armed and Dangerous 16th to the 30th. Game Pass, there's loads on Game Pass. The new games confirmed for release is Hypnospace Outlaw, Tell Me Why's Chapters 1, 2 and 3, Double Kick Heroes, Wasteland 3, Drake Hollow, Resident Evil 7, Tell Me Why Chapter 2, Jackbox Party, Tahula Lunar Nights, Hotshot Racing, Tell Me Why Chapter 3, and Destiny 2, the expansions Forsaken and Shadowkeep. You'd be able to download on there as well, and obviously Destiny 2 is now free to play as well. Also, Xbox leaving Game Pass this month is NBA 2K20, Red Dead Redemption 2, Goner, Blueberry Edition, and Jump Force. PlayStation-wise, we've got Street Fighter 5 and PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds on PlayStation Plus. On Prime Gaming, we've got Pumped BMX Pro, Effie, Impulsion, Outcast Second Contact, Tiny Troopers Joint Ops, and Autonauts. They're all free on there. And with Epic Gaming at the moment, there is Into the Breach. So Hitman and Shadowrun are just gone. So that's those ones.
And take a deep breath.
Yeah, take a deep breath. So there's absolutely loads coming out, free, new games coming. So we're heading back into the crazy season now.
And it's nice to see that we're getting some games. I think people should try Resident Evil Biohazard, definitely.
Yeah.
I completed that game, and I think it's brilliant. Really
it's a very
game.
different way of delivery as well, being the first person sort of.
Oh, God, yeah. I have played a little bit on PlayStation VR as well, which does, it can freak you out a little bit, but it's just a brilliant game, I think. I loved it.
I do feel it's a departure from the Wesker and all of that sort of type of, Chris Redfield or all of those sort of Resident Evils, though.
Yes, you could say that, but I'm not spoiling the end of Resident Evil 7. That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
But I thoroughly enjoyed it. I do have it on both formats.
I think it was mainly designed for VR, though, wasn't it, really? Or VR in mind?
Possibly, but I say I originally played it on the Xbox first.
Yeah.
Played it on there, and I tell you what, it does make you jump. You play that in the dark, you're going to shat your pants a bit, I would say.
Have you played it on PSVR?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I've played part of it on PSVR as well. So I've got it on the PlayStation 4 now. So
yeah,
and that is really weird. It is damn frightening and weird in Wall 1, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean. How is your PlayStation 4? Is it still working? Okay?
It's still up. It's still upright at the moment on its new stand, and it's sitting there. Yeah, I need to go back. I mean, there's so many games I need to play, but I've just not. It's been a difficult summer this year.
Yeah.
We had that big heat wave for a while, which I just wasn't in the mood for gaming then. It just, I wasn't, I probably watched more movies and TV at the time, but.
It's funny you saying. It was funny you saying what you did, because I just thought Steven lost PlayStation 4. We have to go back.
Yeah. But I've got a funny feeling I'm going to take a week off in November.
Yeah.
When Destiny update comes, I'm possibly going to take a week off around that time.
Right.
So so it has to be done. Because there's been some nice videos looking at some of the stasis and what you're going to be doing with that with your Warlock. And I do like the look of that. That looks pretty cool. So anyway, me rambling on there, should we move straight into what we've been playing, Haydn?
Okay, what I've been playing.
Yeah, what you've been playing.
So I've got a few games here. So first off is Battletoads, which is one of the games that's on Game Pass at the moment, and the one that Microsoft was, tooting and going on about as well, because they've got that franchise. So if you don't know, Battletoads is a video game media franchise by Rare that began its origins for the NES way back in 1991. So it's got a 29-year lineage there. It stars three anthropomorphic toads named after skin conditions, which is rash, zits, and pimple. The series as a whole has been, really quite popular. There's been 5 installments of the game.
It has. It's been in the background. A lot of people have been asking for this. And
yeah.
You've seen Phil Spencer with the Battletoads T-shirt teasing it a few times over the last year.
Yeah.
But is it your cup of tea?
Well, I'll get onto that. But even its height of its popularity even spawned an animated television series, a pilot.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, so it's got a long lineage as this. But to be honest, this has been one of those franchises that effectively just passed me by. I was vaguely aware of it at the time, but because, I wasn't a NES player, I was Amiga and all of that sort of stuff back in 91. So, I kind of was a bit, the NES sort of thing, and I just, I thought of it more as a kid's console back then. As you do as an arrogant sort of 20-year-old.
Of course you do, yeah.
Yeah, that's something that my cousin would play. That's not something I would play. But anyway, so the thing about Battletoads is it was renowned for its difficulty, but it's also received a cult following, and the various sequels from various platforms, including it also had a crossover with Double Dragon as well. Which is not surprising because the gameplay is very much like Double Dragon. So in each of the games, because there are different sort of ones. The objective is to defeat the Toad's nemesis, the Dark Queen, and her army of space mutants. Anybody who's played the game will be familiar. They'll be familiar to anyone who's played it before because it plays very much like all of the other ones. And it has hand-drawn animations and couch co-op for up to 3 players, which is really good. The game boasts varied gameplay, and there are different sort of types, such as the Double Dragon sort of fighting, there's racing, and all of that. The series is supposed to be comic, but I have to admit the humour just did not land with me at all. I would say it's sort of like it's. I wouldn't even say that it would be up to Teen Titans sort of writing. Do you know what I mean? The comic or the cartoon. Yeah. I just found it really poor. I just found it to be stupid and boring. It felt like it was trying to be funny rather than being funny. The game has mixed game styles, done in a level kind of way that to me, it just felt like a jumbled mess of a game, because one minute you'd be playing Street Fighter type of, scrolling along, and then the next minute you would be in a sort of like Space Harrier kind of chasing sequence. And it really, the game didn't resonate. I didn't like the characters. I didn't like the humour. I didn't like the gameplay. And I have to admit, I mean, I know that, I don't like reviewing games without giving them a fair chance, but after an hour of this game, I was thoroughly done and absolutely hated the experience.
Not your cup of tea then, eh?
No, definitely not. Definitely not. I think there might be people who might enjoy it. I think if you've got a love for the franchise, it'll be a bit of a trip down memory lane. But if it's not a franchise that you've ever been really bothered about, and unless you have an IQ higher than that of an amoeba, I don't think that you're going to really find it funny either.
What for kids then, do you think?
I wouldn't even, to be honest, I don't even think that my son would have found it funny. It's just really, it was just trying so hard to be something, and it just wasn't. Which I think is a great shame, seeing as Microsoft made such a song and dance about it. But I do believe if you want to buy this, it's about £15. So it's not like it's one that they're investing a lot of, time and effort into, I don't think. But I think you just stuck it on Game Pass just to get the title there. So, maybe they could have done a better job of it. I don't know. But I really thoroughly hated this experience. There's not many games that I can come out of it and say, God, that was awful. I hated that, And I play a lot of Ratalatta games, so, and some of their games are not the best, but God, this was every Ratalatta game I've ever played was better than an hour of this.
Oh God!
Yeah, so that's saying something. So that's it. I'm never going to touch that again. It's been uninstalled from my hard drive. Soon as the quicker it gets off Game Pass, and a substandard game put in its place, it'll be an improvement as far as I'm concerned.
I think people would be better off playing. Sorry, my phone just came to life there. Probably some people might be better off playing Cuphead on the PlayStation 4 instead, maybe. Eh?
Oh no, there is actually a game that's worse, and it's called Cuphead.
I haven't played it since. I really need to just dig it out, because I don't know if they have they not made it easy, but have they made some different modes in there maybe to help us poor people that just find it frustrating?
It's called uninstall mode.
I might have to just turn it on just to have a little look. I think the graphics are amazing. I just love the idea.
Yeah, I think graphically it is really good. It's very 1950s sort of comic graphics.
Some of the early Disney stuff,
Yeah, but I have to admit, I don't like that comic style either, which is another reason why the game didn't resonate with me.
Oh, okay.
As well, so that 2 games on Xbox I would not give time of day to. Battletoads and Cuphead. Although I replaced the U with an R and A.
Anyway, moving swiftly on.
So, next one, Microsoft Flight Simulator. So
this is all. Forget the rest. This is all I want to hear about. This is anything I want to,
Okay.
Indulge me.
Right. So, finally, the game downloaded after the pre-download, which didn't install 97 gigabytes of the game. I don't know how they reckon that was a pre-download, but there we go. It finally downloaded and I got onto it. So I went straight into the tutorials because, well, let's face it, that's where you're going to go, because this is a proper simulator. It's not arcadey.
No, you can't just jump in and think you're going to take off and fly a plane. There's so much you've got to do before you even get the wrong way,
Yeah, exactly. So, I started playing this, played the tutorials, which I have to admit, I found the tutorials to be really cumbersome.
In what way? What do you mean by that?
In the way that they weren't very good tutorials. It was a very hit-and-miss sort of affair. Quite often, they didn't tell you what keys to press or what buttons to do on the controller.
So did you? Some people have been using an Xbox controller as well. What, have you just been using mouse and keyboard?
No, I used the Xbox controller because I thought, seeing as that this has been adapted for the controller, I'm going to use the controller because I didn't want a full experience. I could have plugged in my flight stick and all of that sort of stuff, but I thought then it's going to tell me to press, L9, and I'm going to think, well, which button's L9 on this controller? Do you know what I mean? So I thought, dumbed down the experience. Let's have the experience that people will have if they get an Xbox Series X and play this game.
I still got a funny feeling though when it does come to the console that the demographic, how do I put it, the controller setup will be slightly different than it is with PC still. I think
it's not normally. It's very rare that a game's different in that sort of respect, but it might be, but I don't think it will be personally. But I just found it very, very hit and miss. It did not tell you what keys to press for some of the moves when using a controller. There was no reminders on stuff if you were struggling and not achieving it. It didn't come up and say, "Don't forget to press X or Y."
So you wouldn't have it wouldn't have a little help mode to tell you.
No, but not by default.
You now need to push the throttle forwards or whatever it's going to be.
She keeps saying, pitch 30 degrees to the left, or adjust your yaw, or set your speed to 60 knots or whatever it is that she was telling you to do. That she'd keep repeating it, but it wouldn't tell you how to do it.
You just tell you to shut up by that point.
Yeah, at which point I was just saying, piss off.
It's like Mickey, isn't it? Just go away.
Yeah, just tell me how to do it. This is what I want to know. It started off okay, but the further into it got, I found this to be a bit of a problem with it. And one of the ones as well was it said set your speed to 60 whatever it was knots, and all I could seem to do was either set my speed to full power or no power. There was no sort of gradual.
In between.
Yeah. And I tried every combination of keys that I could possibly think of. But I thought, I'm not going to go...
You couldn't bring the throttle back for that then?
No, I could either set it full forward or set it full back. But there was no sort of in between.
Yeah, but the throttle move... Silly question. The throttle... When you look at the throttle on the plane, you can push straight forward or you can be halfway. So surely that would be able to give...
it didn't sort of highlight like that for me. I mean,
not that I know how to fly a plane, but I was just generally thinking,
Yeah. So I found it not the easiest of experiences to play, but I'm not a big fan of Sims. But this was one I was looking forward to. And I know that you can turn a lot of that back, and you could press Y at any point and it would automatically give control back to, the tutorial pilot.
Does the big rubber doll come up and sit alongside you with a big smiling face?
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It doesn't also, deflate and then have somebody blow it up with the emergency blow up tube either.
Yeah.
For anybody who wants the aeroplane reference there. But yeah, so I was a bit sort of Microsoft, you could have done a better job on this tutorial because this is a really crucial bit to the game.
If you can't fly a plane, you're going to be putting your controller down and walking away from it.
Yeah, effectively speaking. But other than that, I think if you wanted to persist with the learning of it, because it is quite a steep learning curve in a lot of respects, because there's a lot of extra bits that are true with proper aviation.
Silly question.
Yeah.
When you did the tutorial, what plane did it give you for the tutorial, or did you choose?
I can't remember if it was a couple of weeks ago that I played this now, but it was just sort of like a single propeller.
So I was just saying, it would be easier to start off with a biplane than it would with a jumbo jet.
Yeah, you don't start off with a jumbo jet. No,
because there'd be a lot more buttons. And
you start off with a proper learning plane. Yeah, no, you just start off with a normal learning plane. And I did the takeoff, the landing, all of that sort of thing, the navigation, went through all of that. But I got to the end of the tutorial and I thought, I still don't know how to play this game, which is kind of like means that the tutorial failed in my eyes.
Well, if you can get it up right in the air, should I say?
Yeah, with or without Viagra, yeah.
Because did you go to try and fly to your house? Did you have a look, or?
Well, that was sort of like.
Well, that's what everyone wants to do. That's the first thing everyone's going to do when they get that game. They want to take it right around where you live, aren't they?
Yeah, that was sort of my intention, but I just thought I have no idea how to even begin, and I just thought I can't be bothered. If you know what I mean, if you like simulators, this is perfect for you. This is if you like true to life, because I've seen people tweeting of, does anybody know how to switch the light on in such and such a plane and stuff like that, which is fine.
They've only got to Google it, probably. There's going to be YouTube must be an array of simulation how-to-dos,
Yeah, I've seen people saying that they're downloading the manuals for aeroplanes and stuff like that, which...
Did you have the missus standing next to you with the drinks and the trolley waiting for you?
No, I didn't. Just maybe say, maybe have her come along and say, "Oh, hello, Captain."
Don't call me Shirley.
Yeah, but it's a difficult game to master, and let's face it, that's the whole point.
I really want this. I really want Microsoft to say, "We're sorry that we couldn't get Halo out for you, or what we're going to give you this on day one on the Xbox Series X." Really, really want that. Because then that's all I want to play. I really want to just master it and get up there. I mean, some lovely parts of the world that I've been to that I'd like to just fly around, Even if you just go around New York, it'd be pretty amazing. Oh, San Francisco maybe or somewhere,
Yeah, fly under the Golden Gate Bridge in a jumbo jet.
Yeah, instead of going there with Bond style with a balloon. But yeah, it'd be great. I mean, it looks amazing. I did watch a split screen of a plane landing in Florida. Mm-hmm. So you had the view from a window by showing you the wing as if you're in the seat. And they had the real life one and the one from the game. And I'm struggling to tell the difference.
Yeah.
One point, which one is it? Is it left one again? Or, it just...
Yeah, graphically, this is a beautiful game. Yeah. This is absolutely drop-dead gorgeous game to look at. I mean... I've got a 1080, not a 1080 Titan, just a 1080 graphics card. And the settings on my graphics card had to go to medium. Right? The 1080 is a powerful card.
Yeah, because you can set real weather time, or you can just have weather you want, can't you?
Yeah, you can, but...
You can make it snow in... It doesn't do it in San Francisco, but you can actually make it snow in San Francisco if you wanted to.
There's all sorts of things that you can do with it. But the point I'm making is that... even on a good spec PC, which the 1080 still is a good spec, you're going to need a lot of power to be able to play this game on Ultra.
Now, isn't there two ways you can do this? You can actually download the map packs to play, or you can stream them. Is that correct? I'm hearing.
Well, I don't know because I never got that far. It just downloaded 100.
Because you can stream some of the game itself anyway. Or if you're going to sort of maybe play offline, you can download the map pack required for where you are in the world, maybe as well.
Yeah.
But I'm so looking forward to this. I know it'll beat playing trains, I tell you.
Choo choo. Yeah, you'll have to get rid of your thermos.
I know. I'd have to change it for a I don't know.
Get
what,
your
actually.
good lady to dress up as a flight attendant.
Yeah, stand alongside
Can I see to your needs, Captain?
Yeah. Oh, look, no one's flying the plane.
Yeah. Don't worry, it's an automatic pilot.
Yeah. So, are you going to go back to it or not? Are you going to try again?
I don't know.
I mean, take all that time and effort to get it on the PC. It's got to be worth it, surely.
Yeah, I haven't uninstalled it yet. If you know what I mean, this is a bit like Elite with steroids in terms of the learning curve, because there is so much to learn to it. And I just, with all of the other games that are out there, simulators is not my genre, but I always like to have put my toe in the water and
have
see.
A dip in there,
Yeah, exactly. Always like to have a dip in to see how things are going. I just thought I'll have a go with this, but ultimately I don't think it's really my thing.
Because did you play any of the older versions? I used to play some of the older versions back in the day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Nice.
I mean, I remember having Flight Simulator 747 on a Commodore 64.
I remember actually having to download the National Geographic maps to give it the real look and all this sort of thing to do and stuff like that in the game. It was.
Yeah. I mean, what was the other one I played? Do you remember that on the Amiga there was F-16 Falcon?
Yeah, I actually remember playing the Microsoft versions on a PC of some kind back in the day, even the older. Yeah. We're going back to, well back. But, I really want to see that. Because that'll be coming on Xbox Game Pass, won't it? So
it will be, yeah. Well, it is already on Game Pass, this Flight Simulator.
For PC, yeah, but not for us yet. Okay, well, anything else you've been playing?
Yeah, 2 more. Yeah, I've been playing a bit. So another one, which is a game I completed, is the Touryst. So this is tour with YST rather than IST. It's spelled. So this is on the Nintendo Switch, Xbox One, and Windows as well. And it's a action puzzle adventure developed and published by Shinin Multimedia. Basically, the aim of the game is to unlock different travel locations and complete quests and gather cores for a mysterious object located on the First Island's monument. There's lots of puzzles and quests to solve along the way. The art style is sort of like blocky, and it makes use of the voxel art technique. Basically, think about Minecraft story mode sort of looking characters. The game has a custom engine which allows it to perform, really nice graphics and still maintain a good smooth frame rate as well, because there's no dipping in that. But then again, I don't think it was particularly that taxing. And it was also one of the games that was voted as most loved Nintendo eShop game of 2019 as well. But this is also on Game Pass, so you can play it for free if you're on Xbox with Game Pass, or PC, which is where I played it. And it's well worth a look. It was probably about a 4.5 hour campaign. Thoroughly enjoyed it. It was, just a nice, smooth, not too taxing, but not super simple, sort of like platform action puzzler sort of thing. So well worth a look.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. And the last game, which you will be interested in, is Marvel Avengers. So I've opted for the PlayStation 4 version of this, so I can get Spider-Man later on. And
that's why I played the beta on that side. Yeah.
So I just started a campaign. I've not got to the online sections yet. So so far, I'm finding the story to be really good. Graphically, this is a really gorgeous game. It's fast-paced. There's minimal popping. I've only noticed popping once in the game. No real tearing in there at all, or drop frames on the PS4 Pro, which I thought was great as well. It's great to play as all of the different Avengers. The opening sequence, which is sort of like a battle that takes place on the Golden Gate Bridge, was really entertaining. For those of you who are Marvel sort of like aficionados, the story focuses on Kamala Khan, who's the new Miss Marvel, who becomes the Inhuman following the events that happen in the game. And you follow her, but when other characters come in, like the Hulk, etc., you take over their sort of characters.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah. I would say I did think that the gameplay was a little bit repetitive with the sort of like, go there, punch them, collect this, flick that switch, all on a very linear sort of path rather than open world. So it plays a lot more old school, more like, not like Gears of War, but the linearage, the linear effect that Gears of War sort of has, rather than a more open world sort of ones like, Grand Theft Auto and that sort of stuff. The action's occasionally split up with chase sequences, with you normally being chased. I'm going to say that this, for me, is the poorest part of the game so far. And bearing in mind I'm about 3-4 hours in. While it's fast action, and there are visual prompts of where to go, because conveniently, everywhere where you've got to jump, there is, a sheet of metallic, flooring there, of a specific colour, so that you know to jump there, which is a bit ridiculous because that wouldn't be in real environments. But while the action's quite fast paced and you got those visual prompts, I really felt like the camera, so that you can focus, moves and slips around like it's on ice. And the way that I would liken it to is, do you remember Watch Dogs?
Yes.
Do you remember the driving sequences in Watch Dogs and how uncontrollable the camera was? It's kind of like that. So, slippery about and, not focusing on how you need it to, rather than, a much smoother, slower sort of camera, which I think would have done better. Fortunately, just about every jump has a checkpoint. So if you do miss it because you had the camera in the wrong position, or, you misjudged where you should have jumped, you're not punished too much, apart from a 20 to 30 second reload to that checkpoint each time, which was annoying when on one particular bit I just wasn't seeing where I was going, and I think I fell about 3 times over the space of a couple of ledges. That did start to get a bit irking. But then again, I've got to say, this is initial impressions early in the game, both where I am, but also don't forget that this is now being produced in a Destiny model of as a game as a service. So the way that it will operate and the way it will continue is going to morph over time, just like Destiny has. So I'll give you more comments next week when I will have no doubt have completed the whole story. But for me, so far, I'm enjoying it, but finding it a little bit repetitive. I think there's been a lot more pomp and promotion about it than it's filling up, or living up to at the moment. But yeah, if you want to see it, have a look at my stream as well, because I stream some of the gameplay.
Yeah, I played up to the point where you once you've done the first major part for each character.
Yeah.
That's where I got to, and then I sort of was really done with it, to be honest.
Yeah.
I felt, if you're a Marvel fan, a real big fan, you're going to love this game.
Yeah, well, I am a big Marvel fan, which is, it's funny, but I wasn't bothered about it until the day before launch, and I suddenly became bothered about it.
Yeah.
And I, picked it up, and I got it digital as well.
What do you think about the voices of the characters?
It's weird because it's not the normal people doing the voices, not the actors, and the look of them is different, but the characters are still pretty close to what the characters are, because that's the way they're written anyway. So, yeah. So I just, as long as the characters seem to be true to the characters, I can get around it. But I think that there would have been a lot better Crystal Dynamics to have licensed Robert Downey Jr. et al. To do this.
Oh, yeah, totally. I totally agree. But,
yeah. And I think that Marvel would have probably preferred it as well.
Yeah, it's a shame, though.
Definitely is. But maybe there was an issue there with, having Spider-Man, who's going to be an exclusive character to PlayStation.
Yeah, Sony being Sony, isn't it? We discussed this last time we talked about it. Yeah.
Yeah. No need for it, but anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
All done. All I'm going to quickly say I have been playing the golf still. and I'm getting close to the end of my PGA tour.
Right.
So really enjoying that. I still like the game. It's good fun.
Have you ventured over to the We Are Gamers sort of?
Yeah, I was crap at it. I don't know what settings they were on, but mate, I was swinging that ball left to right. It wasn't unplayable. Don't get me wrong, but I need more time with it. I think. Now it depends on the settings you can do for a tournament. You can probably trim it slightly to suit how you can play the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's hats off to those that were getting stupid scores. But no, not me.
You see, this is one game I've been seriously thinking about picking up. But it's a EA sports game, and I know that
it's not EA.
Is it?
No. 2K.
Who is it?
2K.
Oh, 2K. But it's produced by...
No, nothing to do with EA at all.
Oh, right, okay.
It's 2K2, isn't it?
I just assumed that it was another EA one because it was PGA, because I thought they had the license.
No, well, they don't anymore, so...
Right, okay, that explains it then. Because I did look at getting back EA access as well, but I decided not to. There's nothing in that vault that has any interest to me that I don't already have.
I'm hoping to see a little bit of the Star Wars game just to see what it's like. I won't be buying it, but...
Oh, I'll buy the Star Wars game, but
so 2K21 for this. But I thoroughly, it's a great game. Playing it how you want to play it, and I get a lot of fun out of it.
But the thing is, sports games they tumble in price so quickly.
It's about what FIFA do sometimes, don't they?
Well, FIFA by the end of the season you're picking them up for £1 in CEX, aren't you? Whereas even I know that it was a bad example, but the Rory game, Rory PGA, that was dropping in price really fast, and it's not necessarily to do with how the poor quality of the game is, because sports games tend to drop price quickly. Because as soon as you get, if it's 2K20, then as soon as it's 21, it's out of date. Yeah,
because the way some of them games all work, that the new game kicks in about November time. But yeah, I've not really touched a FIFA game in a while, to be honest. I want to, I think, because I miss football to a certain degree. The football season is back in about a week or two time now. It's not long away, so can't wait. Okay, let's move on, shall we? So let's go to movies, TV, and streaming. Okay, so we got some news here first. Haydn, what have you? Actually, one of those. Oh, I think I know about both of these ones. But yeah, you go ahead, pal.
Okay. Well, really sad news is about Black Panther star Chadwick Boseman has died at the age of 43 after a 4-year battle with colon cancer. His family confirmed that the beloved movie star's tragic passing on Twitter, and they said that he had stage 3 colon cancer in 2016, 2 years before the release of his Marvel blockbuster. And the disease basically had escalated over that time in the last 4 years to stage 4. So unfortunately, he lost his battle this week and died at home with his wife and family by his side, and the family concluded by thanking all of the fans for the support and the prayers that they'd given over that time. So it's really, really bad news. And the worst thing is that as well, from a Marvel perspective, is that I think they were looking at starting filming Black Panther 2 in March next year. So that's gone on permanent pause at the moment, which is, I mean, it's nothing in comparison to his loss of life, but it's going to be interesting to see what they actually do with the character now, whether or not Black Panther just fades, back into obscurity, or whether or not they recast.
Or they could actually it's not cruel, but they could actually kill off the character with a little bit of pomp and ceremony, and move on from there. You can still have a new king.
Yes,
but I think it would be great if they did. It'd be like some sort of funeral service for the beginning of the do you know what I mean, for the film, that would like let everyone remember what had happened and also can put your thoughts to it.
I mean, maybe it's a way for them to sort of like honour the character.
Yeah, absolutely.
By launching effectively the events of Avengers 5 and 6 and 7 with his death, and the Avengers avenge. Rather than try and prevent, which is what more what they did really. So I just think it's a great shame because he was a good actor.
But it's just again so young.
Yeah, 43, man. I mean, it's no age.
No.
So yeah, unfortunately, we lost a good one there. The next one is COVID striking Batman. So the Batman filming is halted.
Is the Joker to do with this, maybe, or the Riddler?
I don't know. Might be Scarecrow, because he was the one who liked infecting people with stuff, wasn't he?
He did, didn't he? Yeah, he did. Yeah.
But it was after a crew member had tested positive of COVID-19, and the member of the production crew tested positive and is self-isolating in accordance with the established protocols, and filming is temporarily paused, according to Warner Brothers. The release of The Batman has already been put back several months, with a pandemic previously bringing production to a halt back in March. But despite this, these interruptions, co-writer Mattson Tomlin has stated that the film hasn't changed in any way. So The Batman is due for release on the 1st of October next year.
Cool. Any other news? Let's quickly talk about James Bond, because that's not long away now, is it? Have you seen the new trailer now?
Yes.
A couple of days ago.
The new trailer.
Oh boy, am I looking forward to this.
It looks good. Got to admit, it looks good.
I mean, normally trailers for Bond movies will give you, probably the bulk of it will be to do with the intro of the film. But apart from that, it does. Maybe we're going to see him go out with all flying colours for this. And interesting, then we'll wait and see who will take on the mantle, as we've been talking about this for flipping months now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, I'm just thinking about, as soon as you mentioned Bond, one of the polls that I've run was about who do you think is the best Bond?
Oh, okay. Of course you did, yeah.
Yeah. Do you know who came top?
Oh, look who it is.
Sean Connery.
Yeah. And I voted for him as well, by the way.
Yeah, I thought you would. Daniel Craig came second, Roger Moore came third, Pierce Brosnan came fourth, and Timothy Dalton came in fifth. There was no votes at all for George Lazenby.
No, that's a bit harsh, because he's only done one movie, so you can't actually. That poll would not reflect it well for him, because I still think it's a great movie. I really do. I think, apart from what went wrong between him and the producers, and his he was asking for in many ways regarding him thinking he's going to this because I'm now Bond, I'm actually a star when he's actually not, and stuff like that went on. But I still like the movie. It is out there. I mean, I would always put it. It's difficult to give. If we were to redo our top 5 Bond movies, I mean, I do love that film. It's good, but the amount we've got now so far, it's difficult to put a top 5 together.
Yeah, definitely.
Hey, it was Sean Connery. Sorry, excuse me for yawning there. Sean Connery was 90 last week.
Yeah.
So, God, it would be nice.
We've already lost one Bond, haven't we? With Roger Moore.
Yeah, we have. And we've lost a few side characters. There's a few Bond girls have part of the ways and what have you. But no, I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, that's 2 movies now that for the cinema for sure for me will be Wonder Woman and James Bond.
Well, I'm going to go and see Tenet this week.
Oh, okay.
So, well, at least that's the plan at the moment.
I've heard it's quite good.
Yeah. Yeah, looking forward to being back in the cinema.
Yeah, it won't be very full, though, because they won't have it full up, so it'll be interesting on that.
Yeah, exactly.
So, okay. So moving on then, cinema releases. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll flow on with that was with there. So 4th of September we've got The New Mutants, and they are going to be re-showing Les Miserables and Dream Horse. 7th September we have The Second, Two Heads Creek, and Eminence Hill. The 10th of September we got Wild Grass. On the 11th of September we got Malibu Road, The Painted Bird, Roads Not Taken, The Broken Hearts Gallery, and Our Ladies. So yeah, I haven't got a clue about any of those, to be honest.
No.
Anyhow,
obviously a lot of the ones that were just sat waiting in the wings ready for the cinemas going back, wasn't it?
Looks like it, yeah. So Hayden, Blu-ray DVD releases.
Okay, so last week we had 2001: A Space Odyssey Blu-ray Steelbook from the Titans of Cult. We also have Astra Lost in Space, the complete series on Blu-ray, Beetlejuice 4K, Sherlock Holmes and Sherlock Holmes: A Game of Shadows, both in 4K as well, and The Goonies 4K. This week coming, we've got Age of the Living Dead on DVD, Alfred Hitchcock's classics, Rear Window, Psycho, Vertigo, and The Birds in 4K. There is Casper, the 25th anniversary edition, Casper's Scare School, and Casper, A Spirited Beginning. There is Monsters vs. Aliens, Home and Abominable on DVD. There's Psycho 60th anniversary editions on Blu-ray, 4K Blu-ray Steelbook as well. Superman Man of Tomorrow on Blu-ray and DVD, and Wallace and Gromit, The Curse of the Were-Rabbit, Miss Peabody and Sherman, and Megamind DVD as well.
Oh, cool. I think out of that lot, I have got the Beetlejuice 4K on pre-order.
Yeah.
So that's coming out soon then. Order date. Okay, so it doesn't tell me the order date for that. So, but yeah, there's some interesting ones there. The Goonies 4K. Not probably too fussed. I do have that on Blu-ray. As well as I think I've already got the Sherlock Holmes ones there as well. Also, you're sort of talking about Psycho. I'm not sure about Psycho being in 4K. It's a black and white movie, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, but it'll still have the quality of the picture, won't it?
Possibly, yeah. I mean, I was tempted a little while ago, but I decided to say no to that. But who knows? I might even go back and pick it up. So, okay, so we got the cinema. Do you want to do the cinema charts?
Yep, so at number 5, we've got Pinocchio. At number 4, Unhinged. At number 3, 100% Wolf. At number 2, Onward. And at number 1, Tenet.
Okay, so Blu-ray DVD chart. We have a re-entry, or actually for its 40th anniversary, we got Airplane.
You can't be serious.
Don't call me Shirley. I have actually got the Steelbook edition. It's brilliant. I love it. It's so still at 4 is Birds of Prey. Blah blah blah. Down from 2 to 3 we have 1917. Up from 10 to 2, Rise of the Skywalker. Probably for the 4K that's coming out on that. And a re-entry, or well, it won't be a re-entry. A brand new entry with the 4K version of The Fifth Element,
which I have.
Oh, you have you?
Yeah.
Is that Steelbook or just standard?
Just standard.
So you didn't get that from Savvy then?
No, I got it from Amazon. I thought I wanted to see it this generation.
By the time your 4K would turn up, it'd be 8K.
By the time my 4K turned up, it would have been holographic reproduction.
Yeah, it is a good movie. I do like The Fifth Element. I haven't seen it for a while. I do have a Blu-ray copy, but
yeah.
Cool. Okay, so Hayden, what have you been watching?
Not much, but I have been watching a documentary series on Netflix, which is one that has been causing a lot of stirs in America, and that is Making a Murderer. So I've watched 2 seasons of this. It's a highly controversial Netflix show, which is about a convicted murderer called Stephen Avery. Have you heard about this one?
Not too sure.
Well, basically...
My wife's already watched this herself, but I might be wrong.
Basically, Stephen Avery was convicted of murder and spent 18 years in prison and was released because new evidence proved his innocence. A few years later, while he was suing the police for wrongful imprisonment, he is rearrested for the murder and conviction of a young woman along with his nephew. The show paints a very sort of like specific view of the conviction, which paints Stephen Avery as quite innocent, actually. As in the police have framed him and made him a murderer. That's the image that they give. And obviously, we're not hearing all of the facts, because he has been convicted. So he's been trialed in front of, a jury. They found him guilty for whatever reason. But it does paint a very interesting picture about corruption at the highest levels in the Manitowoc County Police in Wisconsin, which was really interesting. So, if you're interested in true crime murders, this is pretty much a must watch. It's a very interesting watch, and it is a real deep dive, and you can tell this because there's 20 episodes of it. Now, normally, a murder show, this sort of thing, is one episode, then it goes on to a completely different person. This is 20 episodes about this case.
It's called Making a Murder, isn't it? Yeah, I'm just having a look on my phone at the moment. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so well worth a watch.
There was, I can't remember, I should have asked the missus what it was. She was watching a TV show about an FBI detective.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't hear her name. The woman that played Scully in X-Files.
Yes,
she's in it.
The Fall.
Sorry again.
The Fall.
Is it The Fall? Have you seen it?
So. No, I've seen adverts of it.
It looks. What I've seen of it, she was hooked. It was supposed to be really, really good.
Yeah.
Well worth a watch.
Jennifer Aniston. No, not Jennifer Aniston. What am I on about? Why did I say Jennifer Aniston? I know I can see her blooming face because it was Scully.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, it's like sometimes you have a brain fart, don't you? And you think...
Yeah, that was definitely one.
Yeah, so it's called The Fall with Gillian Anderson.
Gillian Anderson, yeah, that's it. Thank you.
That's it. So I would recommend that from my wife's point of view. She has caned that series. I think let's have a look. There is 3 seasons of that. Wow. So well worth a watch.
Well, it gets 8.8 on TV.com and 8.2 on IMDb. 84% on Rotten Tomatoes.
There is a film I've been meaning to watch on Netflix. I think, is it called The Babysitter?
Right.
Have you seen that one?
No.
So basically, when Cole stays up his bedtime, he discovers that his babysitter is a part of a satanic cult that will stop nothing to keep him quiet.
Right.
And is actually, if you'll see her, you'll definitely want to watch it. But actually coming out shortly is The Babysitter Killer Queen, the sequel.
Okay.
So I think I might have to watch the first one. I've been meaning to watch it for such a long time.
Yeah.
But I think it's very much like a tongue-in-cheek sort of horror movie as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember the trailer. He's sitting upstairs between the slats at the top of the stairs, looking down at this, this drop-dead gorgeous woman and the babysitter. But they're all still sort of doing devil satanic stuff downstairs and freaking out. But yeah, I think I'd recommend that totally.
Yeah, cool. I mean, I've been watching. It just started as well. The Boys season 2.
Yeah. Because you enjoyed the first season, didn't you?
I did very much.
Because Carl Urban's in that, if memory serves me.
Carl Urban, yes.
Yeah. Because we're still not getting any more Star Trek from them. But anyway, that's another story.
No, but evidently Chris Pine's saying he wants to see more Kelvin timeline movies.
He does. And there was a couple of stories out recently regarding that.
Yes.
So
he's probably telling his agent off for not accepting slightly less money.
Yeah, no, I mean, really, I do. Yeah, I'm not going to talk about this, but I really do want to see the movies again. I really need them back in there.
Yeah, but there's 7 shows going on at the moment that, in various stages of production for Star Trek.
Yeah, but sometimes too much is sometimes a little bit, that makes it watered down, from my point of view. But anyway, so anything else you've been watching?
No, that's about it.
Yeah. So for me, I've been watching a bit of MasterChef Australia at the moment. It's what stuff I'm watching, terrible, isn't it? But I do like a bit of that. So that's been quite interesting because my missus is she's pretty got a keen eye when she gets to know the contestants. And we were watching it, I think it was a couple of nights ago, and I don't want to get too deep, but this week is like they call it twist week. So they'll be cooking, but they'll put a twist in it for them. And one of the twists was they got a surprise guest to be a judge, and she was the woman that sings the theme tune for MasterChef Australia, and it's Katy Perry. And she came out looking gorgeous as ever. She's already had a kid, but she was still pregnant when she recorded this. And my miss was saying, "I'm sure there's someone missing here. I'm sure Ben's not in the show. What's going on there? I don't understand it." And then he came back for a part of it and disappeared. So she Googled it, and we started watching the next episode, and they said, "Oh, by the way, Ben won't be returning to the show because he's up for 2 sex assaults on a 16-year-old." Jesus Christ! Oh God, what is the world coming to?
Yeah, definitely.
So sort of my tongue fell out the floor and just unrolled on the carpet,
Mm-hmm.
It's terrible, isn't it? Anyway, so on the back of ordering the Waxworks soundtrack albums of Rob Zombie's Halloween 1 and 2, I thought, I haven't watched these for a while. So the first one came out in 2007, and the sequel to these two movies came out in 2009. And basically, it's typically the same story. If you know the first two Halloween movies, you get pretty much the gist of it, of Michael Myers. But with these ones, they go more into the first half of the first film is more to do with the child and how he became how he did and how he became a serial killer and everything else. I will say about these two films that they are really brutal. The killings are brutal and bone crunching. I've always used that sort of terminology for these two films, because when someone puts a knife in somebody, they might stab them once and walk off.
Mm-hmm.
No. This version of Michael will actually be sitting there going 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, and there's blood everywhere. Mm-hmm. It's I wouldn't say it's stomach churning because it isn't for me, but it's just brutal, really is. And the way he's put these two films together is really good. It's nice to see Malcolm McDowell playing Samuel Loonis, the psychiatrist that's been on his case all over the years. And the cast, some of them are pretty well known for bits and pieces. But yeah, overall, though, they're thoroughly good two movies and a different take on the franchise from John Carpenter. But are well worth a watch. If you've not seen that version, probably watch it in front of your missus because she'll walk out.
She definitely would. She hates anything like that.
But it is violent. It really is violent. I mean, it only got a sort of a 6.1 on the Metacritic with IDB, but at the end, But nevertheless, I thoroughly enjoy watching them again. I just thought it'd be well worth doing it before the soundtracks won't be turning up for another couple of months. But I thought, just watch that. Because I know I've got to watch Bill and Ted. I haven't watched it yet. And hopefully by next weekend, I will even see. I might even, what's tonight? Do you know, I've lost track of days. It's Saturday, isn't it? Yeah?
It is Saturday, yeah.
I don't know if the missus will watch it, but I'll try and twist her arm. I know I'll try and get her to watch it maybe. But I don't think it'd be her cup of tea. But we'll see. But yeah, that's about it for me, really. We've been dipping in. Obviously, we watch our normal sort of cooking programs for that. But it's that mid-season term break, isn't it, at the moment?
It is. Yeah.
The Flash will be coming back soon in October, hopefully. A lot of the shows are now starting to get produced and filming's got underway now due to the lax on COVID. So it'll be pretty interesting to see a few bits and pieces out there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so cool. Okay, so should we go to some polls? Have we got any more polls other than...
Well, listener question polls. Yeah, let's go there.
Yeah. Okay, so how many polls have we got this week? Because I've lost track. I think we've done the bomb one, haven't we? So that one's out of the way.
The bottom one, yeah. So we got another two to talk about. So obviously these polls are our new thing, which we do through our Facebook group. So if you want to get involved in a poll and you haven't joined a Facebook group, be there or don't join in.
Be there or be square.
Yeah, exactly. And don't forget, also support us on Patreon as well. Anyway, the first poll was... And I asked this poll because I'd seen this being asked by some other places, and I wanted to see what the feeling was from our listeners. And that is, should Microsoft delay the launch of the next-gen consoles? and Sony as well, but both of the new ones. And that's because of, COVID and, people losing their jobs, not being able to buy them, availability of the consoles, all of that sort of thing. And... most people said no, they shouldn't, with 88% saying no, 12% said yes.
I totally agree. I was there as well.
Yeah. So that was interesting. And then I asked another question about the consoles is, do we need the next-gen consoles, or are the current gen, the Series X and the Pro good enough at the moment? Because sometimes we can feel like these things are being forced upon us rather than anything else. And, I'll hold my hands up. I worded it as a yes or a no, and Nikki Wilson quite rightly pointed out to me that, it wasn't the best worded way of doing it, yes or no, because it was a raw. So, thank you for pointing that out, Nikki. Take your feedback on board. But basically, what we said, what we had there was 36% of our listeners said that the current gen is good enough, whereas 64% of people said they needed a new console.
Well, it's always the same, isn't it? With this, we get to that point of transformation. The previous consoles being maxed to its limit. We're getting some great stuff out there compared to when it was first released. So we get to that sort of happy mode, aren't we? We're getting some great stuff out there, but then we got that jump to do again.
You see, I'm not convinced that the current peak part of the gen, like the X and the Pro, are actually at the peak yet. I think they still have more to offer. I
think because of the processing power, for example, both machines have a problem of turning into planes on some of the latest games. Because they start to begin to sound like jet engines, don't they?
Mine's not so much, to be fair. I'm not really hearing, my consoles revving up anywhere near, especially the One X. I've had it with a Pro. I think I had it with a Pro with possibly The Last of Us a little bit. That's Pro for Christ's sake. Do you know what I mean? If I play anything taxing on my PlayStation 4, my vanilla one, I feel like that I'm in a 4-engine propelled plane.
Mm. You're actually playing Microsoft Simulator, aren't you, for real?
Well, to be honest, I feel like if I hold the console up above my head, I'd actually start to go like a helicopter because it sounds so loud. I've not played an Xbox One vanilla one. Xbox One for a long time, so I always play on the X, and my son has the Xbox One, so I don't know how much that sounds, but it's very rare I hear the fan of my X or my Pro occasionally, but the X next to never. But it has that vapor chamber, doesn't it? And I think that the secret on the X is to have it sat vertically rather than horizontally, because I did used to get heat problems when I had it lying flat.
Well, we both had issues, didn't we, with the Xbox for a while? Actually, this is ironic. This year, I didn't have the same issues I had last year, where you'd get those shutdowns on the machine.
Yeah, but some of that was to do with the preview program and something, some problem with it as well, I believe. Because everybody who was on the preview program was complaining about that. And also Borderlands 3, there was a specific point where it needed to be patched because it just automatically put you in that mode, but it wasn't actually causing that much heat. So, there have been problems with that, but what I found is whenever my Xbox is vertical, there is never a problem with heat or fan noise. So that's just me personally. Whether or not other people have it, every machine's different. Mine's a Scorpio edition one. Yeah,
my Scorpio, I haven't got the room to do that. It's flat. Mine's laying flat, where my Pro, actually, as you know, is now upright because of the disc. So, yeah. But anyway.
Yeah.
Cool. So let's go dive into these questions then. So Mark's given us two as usual. I'll stop the ball rolling. So he's asking us, is Disney bringing back the old animated movies as live action of sorts? Do you see it as a necessary update or just a cash in?
Cash in. Nothing the matter with the old movies. They're animated movies. To my mind, Disney just can't be bothered to write substantially different stories and are just reusing old material when there is absolutely no need to.
I mean, for different generations that grew up with, should we say, the old Disney cartoons like Mary Poppins and Cinderella and all those, seeing live action versions, because they probably never watched the original, so they do get a lot of money out of this from different generations not seeing them. So
yeah,
they probably never heard. Some people might not even realise that there was a cartoon version.
I don't know. I think people would.
I mean,
because of like
released,
Disney Plus and stuff like that.
That's a bit weird, isn't it? Because Mulan's just been released.
Yeah.
Straight onto Disney Plus, of course, I think. Is that correct?
I think so.
But not in the cinemas at the moment.
No.
And I'm not sure what the news... I did see out the corner of my eye, there's a little bit of a controversy over that movie at the moment. But I don't want to go into those political views. But I think when I was seeing like The Lion King was being made or Jungle Book, I thought that I just sort of sighed at the thought of it, because why not bring out some new stuff?
Yeah, exactly.
You know? I mean, I suppose Disney they're so much up their own arse, that corporation now these days. It's they're more worried. They're more bothered about taking out someone's backside out of the movie Splash now they own it than actually producing something else. Do you know what I mean? And just the way that company works these days, I just don't like it. You know, they're being the big boys now. They're buying all these. They bought Fox and everything else, and that will put a stop to shelving any more further movies from some of those franchises. And other than that, they're editing them out now just due to, for whatever reason, which I see is unnecessary.
The political correctness sort of.
Yeah, you'd be better putting those resources into researching for new movies, new ideas, and some decent shows that actually do work, and and not regurgitating more garbage sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I used to love Disney as a kid. Don't get me wrong. I used to go to the cinema to see Mary Poppins, Freaky Friday. Jodie Foster was in that, and many more. You know, I used to love those ones which are like animal documentaries. They used to put it to music sometimes. Do you remember those?
Oh well, you always used to get those before the main feature, didn't you?
Yeah, you did, and they were great to watch. And I remember going to the cinema to see Robin Hood, which was one of my favourites. And even my kids, when I showed them that, you know, at the time on VHS when that came out.
I mean, I was about 19, 20 when it came out, but one of my favourite movies was The Lion King, the original one, not the one where they put in the Rowan Atkinson doing a singing number. That was awful when they edited that movie, but the actual original release of the movie, it was good.
Oh, but he was in the original release of the movie, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was, but they added a song in, which was awful.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, because his character, which was the bird, didn't sing, but they put in a musical number for it later on, and it was
okay. I don't remember that
version of it. Yeah,
I mean,
was awful.
The film as it was really good. I think that was probably one of the last Disney ones that really struck a chord. You know, and some of the movies they did do that were live action sort of / cartoon. I suppose Mary Poppins was like that, Bedknobs and Broomsticks. But then you had some of the other ones. I mean, Kurt Russell did quite a few movies in his beginning of his career with Disney. Oh
well, yeah, he was really did a lot of contracts with them.
Yeah, and you had Robin Williams with Flubber, if you remember.
Yeah,
which was quite amusing. So yeah, I mean, these are sort of brand new types of movies. There was Robinson Crusoe back in the day. But now this regurgitation of live action, I don't think it is there's more other stuff they could be bringing out. But what do we know?
Agree.
They do sell well. They get, the tickets for going in to see them. So yeah. Oh well, never mind.
Yeah.
Anyway, do you want to go to the second question?
Yeah, so I think linked to it is he's saying do you feel the same about games that are rebooted? I think this is a difficult one, because what do you classify as a reboot? Is it taking the base part of the story and creating a new game?
Well, I think I've got a prime example.
Yeah, go on.
Tomb Raider.
Yeah, that was a reboot.
Absolute solid reboot, and a good reboot. All those games that came out on that next platform, even the last one, I think it was Shadow of the Tomb Raider, if I remember rightly. They're brilliant games, absolutely brilliant. I loved them, and some of those games I didn't want to end in the story because I was loving them so much. I'm
sure we had this conversation a couple of shows ago, but there's a difference between a reboot and a remaster.
We did have. Someone was talking about what was your favourite game you'd like to see rebooted. Maybe that's the question we had.
Yeah. It's like Final Fantasy was a reboot, whereas what's an example? I'm trying to think of. Like, I don't think, a remaster would be like the PlayStation 4 version of Skyrim or the special edition of Skyrim.
So, for example, I think something like Dino Crisis might have got a remaster, or
where it's essentially it is exactly the same game,
but they've upgraded
just
the
better
frames.
Graphics. Yeah. Update the frame rates, updated the graphics, updated the polygon count, all of that sort of thing. But something where it is a rewrite of the story, like Final Fantasy VII, that is a reboot.
Yeah, and Tomb Raider was as well.
Yeah. So I think that, to be honest, there's very few examples of reboots. I think there's much more examples of remasters.
I think there was a sort of a flurry of those at one point that came in at one point.
Well, there is at the beginning of every new generation.
Yeah, we had Halo 2, didn't we? Remember? It was remastered. We had Resident Evil 1 and 2, I think. Well, not Resident Evil 2, but I think the original Resident Evil was remastered as well.
Yeah, but I think that we get them more so. I think the number of them increase every generation.
But the reboot of Resident Evil was okay, though. I quite like those.
Yes,
because that wasn't a remaster. We had an actual reboot.
No, that was a reboot of Resident Evil, definitely.
Yeah,
because not all of the puzzles were the same. I don't think the maps were exactly the same, if I remember rightly.
They weren't far wrong, but it was actually they built them up from the ground. They weren't actually taking the old game and sprucing it up. They actually started from scratch.
And I think that reboots can be just as good, if not better, than the original. But they completely changed a lot of the Tomb Raider stuff from the original. Was very sort of formulaic in terms of you would know exactly how it would be a half step back. You wouldn't get a good enough run up to do a long jump, whereas a full step back you would, and stuff like that. All of that sort of indicators gone in this kind of game, and there's a lot more emphasis on other stuff in it as well, puzzle solving and stuff like that, more so than there was in the originals, I think.
Yeah, because they're more of an RPG game, aren't they?
Yeah.
And they're very all right. They may well be linear to a certain degree, but the suspense and what went into some of those sequences is incredible. I really enjoyed it.
I have to admit, I don't have a problem with a game being linear. I don't have a problem with it at all. Open world's good enough, but it's a nice to have. But if the story works, you don't need an open world. And I think for a story, sometimes an open world can actually act against it.
I don't think it actually harmed Tomb Raider, because once you had done the story, you could go back to some of those tombs you hadn't unlocked.
Yeah, exactly.
And I mean, the DLC as well. Some of the DLC was really good. I enjoyed that. So it's there were. I mean, I think some of them have been on Game Pass. Memory serves. But, really good. Anything else?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so if we move to Facebook then with Nick Wilson, shall I say? He says, Shenmue is getting a 12-episode anime series made. What video game would you like to see get made into a TV show, anime or regular TV? I'm
going to say Dead Space into a regular TV.
As in not animated?
Not animated, live action.
Because we're now crossing into this zone of TV, or should we say even movies for games, don't go well.
No, they don't, but I think you could make a good one out of Dead Space. And that's a franchise now that is effectively dead in gaming.
Yeah. Well, actually, there is a new series coming out on Netflix soon regarding a game, and that's Resident Evil. There's going to be there's a new TV show.
Yes.
Based around that. I'm not sure what part of the timeline it's going to be, whether it's at the beginning of Raccoon City or what, but yeah, that is coming out. So and then obviously there's a new movie with the same woman that played Resident Evil, and obviously I can't Mila Jovovich, and Monster Hunter's coming up, isn't it? That's another game related movie.
Yeah.
So there is a couple of things on the horizon from that point of view. I think something that did get Mr. Jackson from King Kong, should we say, there was going to be a BioShock movie at some point, or a TV show, but it got canned. That could have been interesting. I like the idea of that.
I wonder what that would have been like anime, because that would have been a mixture of styles.
Well, yeah, because anime is Japanese, so we we can't class them the same, but it would have been that decor from that sort of avant-garde era that we had with BioShock.
Yeah.
Which I do love that sort of how that comes across, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. I just think that would be a really interesting comparison of styles. Would be the anime with that Art Deco sort of look.
Yeah. But there's other things that have been tried. Obviously, there's going to be a Fallout TV show. Remember that? I forgot about that one.
Yeah. What about Alan Wake?
Yeah.
There was a web series on that, but that would be really good.
So we actually have got quite a few things on the horizon. From my point of view, two of my favourite games, Fallout and Resident Evil, have both got TV shows coming out.
Yeah, I'll tell you what would work as well. How about an anime version of Doom? I can imagine that working. Or an anime version of Enslaved Odyssey to the West.
Don't blink in the game, though, because I think you'd miss it.
Yeah. Or what about an anime version of Enslaved Odyssey to the West?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a few things. Oh, look, Amazon's 9 stops away, so we have to finish soon.
Okay.
Anyway, so, that'd be pretty good, actually.
Yeah, a few good ones there.
Yeah.
Okay, so Paul Wilson said, do you tend to skip cutscenes and long dialogue sections? I tend to skip them once I'm a good few hours into a game, in particular Fallout, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, due to the games being story-heavy and lots of side quests, but I still enjoy playing them.
Never on the first time play of a game. I always like to want to know what's going on. If you play the games too late, though, some of us ended up falling asleep, so you missed the cutscene.
Yeah.
But no, I like to keep that. I like to watch them first time round. If I'm going to do a second round, it will be, probably skipped.
I'm pretty much the same, because normally, as well, there'll be achievements that'll be attached to watching all the cutscenes, if there's going to, they often do with that sort of stuff as well. So I tend not to skip cutscenes for that reason, because it's just easy gamer score.
Yeah.
But also, I like the stories as well, so I tend not to skip the cutscenes. The only times where I might skip it was, I think, sometimes on Assassin's Creed Odyssey, when it was, I would have the text and the subtitles on, and if I read the subtitles before the character had finished talking, I would skip to the next lot of subtitles.
Yeah.
So that's tends to be where I'll skip them on a first playthrough.
Okay, so Paul's got a second question.
Yeah.
So it does look like the new specifications of the two new consoles are indeed going to be as powerful as the RTX 2080 Ti, due to this week's release announcements, what we've already talked about as well. So it's pretty much the price of new consoles. Haydn, are you tempted to buy the new RTX 380 at 649? And Steve, do you fancy building a PC at any point in the future? Yes, I would love to at some point, but not right now.
Well, if you stop buying all these blooming records, you could have a blooming i9 with a RTX 3090 in a couple of months.
Yeah, I do like the idea of my console gaming at the moment, and with everything that's coming out on the new console, I think I'm quite happy with that. So I'll be seeing Destiny at 4K, for example, so I won't be missing out.
Apart from the frames per second.
Well, I think
and
at my age, it's not going to make a blind bit of difference, I don't think.
Am I tempted to get one? Yes, I am, and yes, I will be. But consoles have to come first at the moment.
Yeah. Okay, do you want to do Jason's?
Okay, Jason Toon's asking, should there be a limit to the time between sequels? We all know how Hollywood has run out of ideas and likes to go back to the well for sequels to long dead franchises, but should there be a cut-off point where we say no more? Take the new Bill and Ted movie. I loved the first two, but the third was awful. But if it was made back in the 90s, like it should have been, maybe it would have been different or better.
That's a point of view I can't discuss yet.
And I'm not going to discuss anything until Steve has actually
until I've
seen
watched it.
the movie.
So apart from that last part of the paragraph, I think sequels. I mean, would you class a Bond film as a sequel?
Yes.
And how long have they been going for? Never a problem.
No. But then again, Bond doesn't really worry about something, the other thing people worry about called continuity.
And what about Star Wars franchise, for example? Again, you know what I mean? It's difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't have a. I think that there are some movies that may be done because of time that's gone on that doesn't suit its original format.
Should we not say so? If we exclude big franchises like Star Trek, Raiders of the Lost Ark, for example.
Well, actually, I think Star Trek's a perfect example because Star Trek came back to the movies, about 10 years after it finished circulation on TV?
Yeah, 1979.
Yeah. So, as far as I'm concerned, I don't really think that there's an issue.
I understand what you're saying, and obviously from the Star Trek point of view, we have Kirk and Spock were in their much earlier ages, we say, compared to when they started doing the films in '79. Now, the same way that Bill and Ted, when that was in the '80s, and they were teenagers, and now they're grown men playing these characters again, and sometimes that may not work the way it would do because you haven't got that same bravado and attitude because you're an older person and things are different. Yeah. So it's like, I suppose, when you got a lot of these one-off movies that we had in the 80s, or maybe ones that had, I mean, if you tried to bring back, let's say another franchise, maybe Police Academy, if you tried to bring up a franchise like that and bring it back with some of the original characters, it would probably be awful. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just wouldn't work. If you can do a reboot of, say, Short Circuit, instead of bringing a sequel back, I suppose from a robot's point of view, it wouldn't make any difference because you had new characters. The robot wouldn't change in age anyway. Mm. So it can be difficult to pinpoint how these franchises are. I mean, at the moment we're going to get new versions of a few movies from the 80s, aren't we? So we're getting, I hate to say this, but Planes, Trains and Automobiles is being remade.
Shouldn't be done.
Oh, Steve Martin and, John Candy. That is not even should be touched.
No, there are some films in history you just don't touch. And I'm sorry, but with who's going to be in it, no.
Yeah, but yeah, it's an interesting thought that we do. I think we like to reminisce on something that we loved as a teenager, maybe.
Yeah.
Especially the Bill and Ted movies, they are great. Same way would be, I think, now if we were to bring another Wayne's World, for example, would you have that in the same boat?
I pretty much would.
Yeah, even though when we saw, I think it was 2 Oscars ago when they both came on stage and acted out as their characters.
Yeah,
I'm going to say it did make me laugh.
Mm. I think that, but I'm not gonna say anything because we both need to have seen Bill and Ted's first.
I mean, I'm hearing all I'm going to say, and I've heard some good reports about some of it. So but we'll see. We'll leave it at that for now.
Okay.
Where were we?
Pretty cool.
Okay, so Craig says, just watched the trailer for the new James Bond film. I thought it looked awesome. What do you two think of the trailer? And are you going to watch it at the cinema with masks or wait for the Blu-ray? Well, I think you won't need to wear a mask if you're ill. I don't know how you're going to be separated, so you might not need to. I hope not.
Yeah. I'm not bothered one way or the other. I'll go and see it.
But I still need to. I think I've watched 99% of the Bond films in the cinema. So some of them were when they came out from the 70s onwards, and the 60s ones.
Surely it must have been 96% because you must have missed one. Because otherwise that means that you went out halfway through one of the movies. Yeah, but
I think the only one I haven't seen at the cinema would be the one that was a spoof, which was Casino Royale.
That's not a Bond movie, though.
No, I know it's not, but it's class. Some people do. I don't class it, but yeah, hey ho.
I'll tell you what. When I did the poll, I found it really interesting. Bob Holness did the voice for Bond on the South African version of Moonraker. On the radio show, yeah, because when I put it on, I put on everybody who's ever played James Bond.
I know you did. I thought, yeah, because there has been some plays have been done and stuff like that.
Yeah, but every official release of something, and Bob Holness is in, blockbusters and Green Bond.
Well, I mean, I can't remember what I was talking about to someone. I found this out. This is completely not related, but Jack Nicholson did voiceovers for certain other movies.
Yeah.
For different countries. So it does happen.
Yeah. But it's quite funny, isn't it? Because everybody always takes the mickey, says, "Can I have a pee, please, Bob?"
Yeah.
You know, when he was doing it. But no one said, "Can I have a cue, please, Bond?"
yeah, that's it. But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to seeing it. I say, yeah, I have seen them all at the cinema.
Yeah.
And I just won't want to break that habit, to be honest.
No, I want to go and see it.
Yeah. Okay, last question.
Craig Cole says, let's pretend if you could pick the 4 release games for the Xbox Series X and PS5, what would they be? Anything at all. He would be, Xbox would be PGR, Halo, 50 to 1, and Geometry Wars. For the PS5, SSX, Bloodborne, MotorStorm and Horizon Zero Dawn, and Uncharted and The Last of Us 3 and Skyrim shout-outs.
4 for the Xbox. Well, I still want to see I want to see Flight Simulator come out on that for the moment. I really want to see that.
Yeah.
It would be nice to see the new Bethesda game, which is still a way off yet. Is it Starfield? It's called. I can't remember now.
Yeah.
New one. PGR would be a good shout. I used to love Project Grain Racing. That was good.
Project Gotham Racing, yeah.
Gotham Racing, yeah. And 50 to 1. Now that was a game and a half, wasn't it?
Yeah, I enjoyed that one as well.
And Geometry Wars would still look spruced up, I think, even if you just played it on back and back. I think at the moment it's still a good game to play.
Yeah.
What about PS5? Because that would be a bit tough, really.
Well, he said SSX, Bloodborne, MotorStorm, Horizon Zero Dawn.
I probably would agree with SSX.
Yeah.
I think, was it SSX Tricky? I can't remember which one came.
Yeah, that was the best one.
That was the one that debuted on the PlayStation 2 when it came out, if I remember rightly.
It was, yeah.
And that's my favourite. Absolutely,
yeah. It subsequently, it just seems to have gone downhill. Does that?
Well, there's nothing like, but there's nothing like that one. That was just superb, and I think with the days of not having the internet as much then or anything at all, if I remember rightly, we had ways to find those little sneaky tricks to get around the other parts of the track we had to look for, and the music as well that was in it. With the was it the Beastie Boys that was in that? I can't remember now. Might have been. So, but yeah. I mean, yeah, you'd like the next part of the Final Fantasy franchise to be coming out on it as well. That would be nice, and a new Uncharted game would be pretty cool as well. You see, when you get that sort of stuff then coming out, then you think I'll be drooling for a PS5.
You see, I'm going to say PS5 wise, Wipeout new version. Always been one of my favourite races. God of War, the sequel to the last God of War. I'm going to say Ghost of Tsushima 2, whatever that sequel would be, as well. And I think one of them already is coming out anyway because they've got the sequel for Horizon Zero Dawn because that was so good. I do like Uncharted. I'd prefer a Nathan Drake Uncharted. But I would like it to be less of, ultimate mountain climbing simulator this time round.
Yeah.
And a bit more Tomb Raider-esque. In terms of Xbox, I'm going to say the original Mass Effect series remaster or reboot, even better. That would be good.
Yeah.
I would love to see Dead Space 4 come out because I did love that as a franchise of a game. I'm going to say Alan Wake 2 because I can't remember which franchise it was, but Alan Wake is crossing over with another one in the current gen as well. I'm not really bothered about Halo that much at all. What else would I like on? I actually did. I agree with him at 50 to 1. I like that. That was a good game. That would be cool to have that as a gaming service on Xbox again.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just seeing a tweet there. It's just been announced that Resident Evil TV series is coming to Netflix.
Yeah.
So there you go. I think that was I think that was going to be a given anyway, but no, it's just been announced. I just saw it on Twitter, so there you go. Bit of breaking news for you.
Yeah, be good to see.
Yeah, be cool. That's it, I think.
That's it.
20 to 5 in the afternoon, and Amazon is now 2 stops away, so I bet get my skates on.
Okay. So just enough to give you goodbyes.
So, yeah. Goodbye for me, goodbye for you. Cheerio, no, bye. No, okay. So, Twitter at Steve07, the PSN ID, the real Steve07, Xbox Steve07, and Instagram, if you want it, Instagram is Steve0764. And YouTube, I think my YouTube one is Steve07 as well. But I'm sure you'll find it in there somewhere, and you'll notice the logo on me. Yourself, Haydn.
So for me, it's HERJ UK on everything PSN, Xbox Live, Steam, Twitter, Twitch, the whole lot. You can also find me if you search for me on YouTube that way as well. Don't forget, if you want to get in contact with the show, you can follow us on Twitter at Pop Culture Gamer. There's our Facebook group and our Facebook page. You can join those. Or you can email the podcast at podcast@popculturegamers.co.uk.
Excellent. So all we got to say then is it's a good night from me.
And it's a good night from him.
Good night, guys.
Bye.